Welcome! E aí, galera, beleza? Bem-vindo à nossa comunidade.
Welcome to our community.
Hey, what's going on, guys? It is OGC here, part of Original Gaming Culture, coming at you with a Clash of Fate video talking about just the tips. So we're not going to go super in-depth, we're just going to go over a couple tips for general strategies and or things to focus on for Clash of Fate. So one of the big things is having voice communication during Clash of Fate helps out a lot. So what that looks like is an app called Discord. You're welcome to download it. You can use it on your phone while you play the game, and by doing so, you can communicate with the members of your house. It's all completely free, by the way, so that when you're in battles, you can still know what's going on in the map. If you are locked into a battle for Clash of Fate, you cannot type to other people. So I highly recommend getting Discord, using it with your host if you want to give yourself the most advantage as possible, or the biggest advantage as possible. There is a Discord you guys are welcome to use. The link is in the description. It should hopefully work today. I'm hoping. But what this Discord is the OGC Art of Conquest. It's a huge Discord. We got like 757 people on it. It's growing rapidly. It's a wonderful community of people. Here, there are different types of voice chats. If you want one specific for your house for Clash of Fate, just let us know here, and we'll probably make you one. So you can talk with people via voice. All you do is double click on the voice channels. The interface will look slightly different on your phone. You can also use it on a computer. From there, there's a bunch of different chat options. Under general chat, you can go into the spam. You can do whatever. You can check out cool pictures. So like this one. Yeah, I would not want to fight that guy at last 10 seconds. You can talk about the game. There's giveaways here. Server recruitment. The other ones don't matter. And then from there, there's a whole redeem code section, so that if you're looking for redeem codes, one-stop shop. If you have questions specific to the temple and or research, hero builds, items, artifacts, void, abyss, different race-specific questions, we have it all here. Also, there's a list of all the YouTubers. If I go here, oh my gosh, look at that picture. Who is that handsome guy? Oh, there's more. Oh, look at that smile. I look amazing. Holy crap. Look at how blue my eyes are, too. Anyways, enough about that. So you can check out that. There is translation, so if I want to go check out some Russian stuff, I can pretend to read Russian. Yeah, it's pretty cool overall. It's in the description below. But that's only one piece of what we're going to talk about today. So tip number one, have some way to communicate with your hosts that's not totally reliant on in-game chat. That way, when we look at these strategies coming up, we'll be able to implement them properly. So, for this first thing, we're just going to look at one nexus. So we have one. Now, say that this little circle, by the way, this is our high budget thing, so I know that you guys sat through those beautiful ads. This is what we get out of it. We get paint. Say this is you, this big red dot, that is you. We want to control this nexus. So, when we go into the nexus, you want to move into the nexus before you attack anybody. Move into it before you attack anybody. Never stand on the outside. Never just stand here like this horrible circle and attack somebody from the outside. Move in just like you were capturing a city. If you do it any other way, you are basically non-existent in Clash of Fate. You are being useless for your team during that period of time. During that period of time, you could be inside the Nexus. Your team only gets points if you're inside the Nexus. It doesn't matter if you're going to lose the PvP. None of that matters. All that matters is you are literally inside the Nexus. So please, tip number two, move into the Nexus before you attack anybody or before anything. Run to the Nexus that you're supposed to be at and move in. Alright, so hopefully we got that covered. The next thing I want to talk about is different strategies that people can run. These all help with the voice communication. So again, this is our super high budget stuff. It's actually looking pretty good, all considering. I'm thinking about quitting my day job and doing being a photo editor. If anybody needs circles, I got you covered. So there's one strategy where team number one, this will be team number one, will send people out equally to all three. So if there's 20 people in here, call it 7 people for each one. And the goal is they want to control all 3 of these. So that they want control of all 3. I'll do the control by like a weird plus sign. Yeah, we're getting into it. This looks amazing. When I was in 2nd grade, this is what my art looked like. I would have called this family. Anyways, one strategy is you try to control all 3 nexuses or nexi. The pros to this is you're going to probably, in theory, always have one. That's the pros of this. The con of this is those other 2 you are not guaranteed to have, and there's going to be a lot of fluctuation. So if before the Clash of Fate starts, if everyone has a predetermined place to go and you're locked into that, so there's no fluid motion between moving people to different nexi, then what can happen is you will win one nexus that whole time. You just will. But for those other 2, you're gambling at that point in time. You might have one of them, you might have the other, you might have both, or you might have none. So that's one strategy that people can use. If there is no voice communication, this one works pretty well if you are trying to be organized. Another thing that you can do is you can focus on 2. So say we take this bottom, we say screw it, we don't want bottom at all. We're going to concede bottom to the other teams. What you can then do is just say, you know what, no matter what, we're going to keep people pouring into these 2. So this looks like a plus because we control it, this looks like a plus, and this one we just forfeit. So we're going to lose on that one. We know that we're losing bottom, and that means you can send 10 people to one nexus, 10 people to the other. So this one, again, the risk of this one is you're always going to be down one nexus. No matter what, you're going to be down one, and for those other 2, you should be able to control them in theory, but in practical application of it, and the chaos that ensues around Clash of Fate in general, you're not going to control those 2 the whole time. If that enemy team only needs to send one person down here and then they send 19 people to the other one, then this strategy is not going to work, and then they can just concede this one. So this is a good baseline strategy, but the cons are you still need to be fluid, and you're going to be sacrificing one nexus right from the beginning. A third option, and this one is actually my favorite, is at the beginning you go after 2 nexus, send about 9 people to each, right? So you have a fair chance of winning them over, and then for the 3rd nexus you send 2 people. That way they have to put something into the bottom. They're forced to make a play down there, or that they concede it and you have good numbers on the top. What can happen is you can gain control of, you have a good chance of gaining control of 2 and losing control of the bottom. Now you've invested 2 people or 10% of your resources to that one bottom nexus that you're going to lose. However, the enemy would have to put in at least 15% of their resources, or 3 people, in order to gain control of that. It also helps if these 2 people are pretty strong, because then it's going to force the enemies to do something. Although I would not put your strongest people there, I'd put your top 2 dogs in the middle in top. or whichever two you pick. Now, what's nice about this, and what I highly recommend, is having some fluidity, if that's a word. And what I mean by fluidity, if it's not a word, let's define it. What do you mean, OGC, by fluidity? What I mean by that is, if you have a resource like Discord, which you get an advantage compared to other people playing the game that are not using Discord, meaning voice communication. What you can do is, say the enemy moves 15 people to the top, they only have 4 people on, or let's scratch that, they have 3 people in the middle, and then they have, I'm just going to erase this by drawing all over it, they have 2 people in the bottom. So right now, we're losing top, we own middle, and bottom is timed out. By having voice communication, you can then say, you know what, let's drop top. Let's leave 2 people up there and move those 7 people down here. So now there's 9 people here. Having the fluidity or the ability to move and redirect your resources is your team. So each person, I'm referring to them as resources, each person, to be able to move them around will help. But if we're just moving around without a rhyme or a reason, then it's not going to be worthwhile. If they moved a bunch of people, if they made a big push, say for top, they made a big push, they just put 15 people up there, those 15 people are going to be locked in there for 5 minutes. If you can have people pull out of that city, not like going back to the respawn, but just abandoning that post and then running to either middle or bottom to reinforce it, let those 15 people sit in that city by themselves. Go take the other 2. So running with a strategy like this one, or running with a strategy like the previous one where you try and control 2, if you control 2 next size for the entire time, you're going to win. You cannot lose with that fundamental idea. So I think that focusing on 2 while putting up a mild fight for a third might yield you the best results if you can mobilize the entire team to switch it up. So if you're just focusing on, if we're only focusing on top and middle, and we're putting up like a tiny fight for the bottom, and then the enemy heavily reinforces one of them, instead of trying to fight them all out, play around them. If they all go to one, leave that one and go to another one. Go take over bottom and middle and let them sit in top and fight nobody. It might help you out. The only way that you'll be able to pull off things like that is through communicating on Discord. Have a few people that are kind of like designated shot callers to be like, hey, this is what we need to do. We need people to go here. We need people to go there. That may help you out. The last option is pure chaos, meaning don't chat, don't do Discord, don't do anything, just have everybody run around and go wild. The weird thing about this is there's always a fundamental principle of balance. So if we look at the other strategies that we looked at, they were somewhat organized, and because they're organized, there's a level of order. The exact opposite of order is chaos. So if something is super rigid, very calculated, and it's well organized, if the other team can invoke chaos, then they might have a chance. I don't know. Who knows? It might work. Feel free to try it out. Let me know how it goes. But what I will say when it comes to the overall strategies is you want to be in control of the enemy. It's kind of like chess. If the enemy moves a bunch of people to top, then you want to focus on the others. Or you can dictate and start forcing the enemy to move to certain spots, kind of like chess. So chess, you can get a giant advantage by forcing your enemy to move to a certain spot that might be beneficial for them temporarily, but in the long term is not beneficial. So this is what I mean by getting the enemy to all move top. Because if we're running off of this idea where we're focusing on the top two, and if we're focusing on just the top two, then if we're playing proactively, we're forcing the enemy to make a move. So if the enemy falls for that bait and the enemy decides to try and contest top, then they're playing reactive. They're playing based on our move. In chess, that would be like we move our pawn so that they need to move their bishop. We should only move our pawn to force their bishop to move if that's where we want their bishop to move to. We're dictating where they're moving to. Whether or not they realize that. They might think it's a good strategy because they're following one of those other strategies, but they're playing in response to what you're doing. So you want to be the one in the driver's seat. You want to initiate that control from the get-go, which would require some level of planning and organization. So if they all move to this top area, now all those people that moved in are stuck there for 5 minutes, or they have to exit out and respawn. Your current people in there, assuming that they are not in duels or right after duel, they can somewhat get out fast. They can abandon the post and then just wander on down to these other spots. Realistically, they'll have to duel, but if you get into a duel there, you can end it relatively quickly, end up back in the respawn point while they're stuck in top, and then go reinforce any of the other two. So although they went top to contest top and win this top area up here, because you forced them to make that move, you can now gain control of the other two. If any of this makes sense, let me know. Realistically, it probably doesn't. So with that being said, you guys are more than welcome to come use our Discord, hang out. We can chat the night away. Oftentimes we'll be in open chat. Feel free to hop in open chat on Discord, hang out with everyone, talk. It's a pretty fun time. There's a lot of good and nice people here. If you do have questions about the game, feel free to comment and hang out and ask your questions. People will help you out, especially if you have an open mind. If we're set in our ways before we even ask a question, then it might not help you out, but having an open mind for different ideas is always a good thing. And hopefully some of these thought-provoking and highly skilled drawings for Clash of Fate help you out and help your team out in deciding what to do moving forwards. Whatever your team feels comfortable with, or whatever your leader decides, make sure that you do that. Lastly, just because it's so important and it drives me nuts when people do not do it, when you go to fight over the Nexus, move into the Nexus just like you were capturing a city. Never attack somebody while standing on the outside, attacking in. Move in, put your stronghold inside the Nexus, and then attack somebody. Always. There's no reason to ever do anything else. That's the only way to do it. So with that, guys, hopefully we got something out of this. None of this is like concrete or the best of. I guess the idea of it is to get our mind going and thinking. That way we can come up with a strategy. Because if we're going in blind, then if we're going in completely blind for everything, then we're just playing under pure chaos. Which may work, and you guys might find some success with it, but I think that the people that watch these videos, our community, we're too smart to play just by pure chaos. We're smart enough as a group of people to figure out a plan and a course of action. So with that, guys, please smash the thumbs up button, like the channel, subscribe to the channel, turn on the bell notifications, or Monica Kim will come and find you. Tomorrow I'll release the full unedited Clash of Fate Championships video from our group stage, top 64 teams. I'm sure that I won't lose a single fight. I'm going to get destroyed and you guys can watch it. So subscribe, and I'll talk to you guys tomorrow.